Hi teachers! For our final course requirement, here's the title of my presentation. Small Steps, a Work in Progress. It is a case study of a lovely boy which I'm going to call as L. L is a 7-year-old boy born on December 23, 2009. He is currently a grade 2 student at Mariam Claire Integrated School under the care of Dr. Jocelyn Eusebio with clinical diagnosis of mild autism spectrum disorder with ADHD. So here's L's school history. L started his ABA therapy at Teamworks Behavior Incorporated at the age of 4 up to present, year 2014 when he entered special education classes at Irving Hall School. In year 2015 up to 2016 at the same school, he was mainstream provided by a shadow teacher from High Hopes Intervention Center. Year 2016 up to present, he transferred to Mariam Claire Integrated School, where he was in mainstream program and with no shadow teacher. He is currently a grade 2 student. L's areas of strengths and interests are the following. He shows striking memorization abilities. He has strong long-term memory skills. He's good with math, science, computer, and shows artistic skills. He often thinks in a visual way and demonstrates qualities such as loyalty and honesty. He is detail-oriented with an average to above average intelligence. He has an extensive knowledge resulting from deep study in favorite topics and intensive focus when working on with his favorite activity. As for areas of challenges and support, L is having trouble expressing feelings in a way that other people would understand or expect. He has difficulty perceiving emotions of other people. He's having trouble with summarizing information to include in speech, inflexible routines. He needs assistance with self-care skills like brushing of teeth, wearing clothes, and taking a bath. He's also having hard time motivating himself. He has difficulty of focusing on something other than his interest. Difficulty following unwritten social rules that can learn through distractions. And then difficulty getting the big picture and having a hard time with Filipino subjects. So expectation from L's parent, quoted, "We just want him to do well in school, meaning no failing grades and that he is able to recall what he has learned. In the future, we want him to be able to have a stable job and a healthy social life, to have friends that he can count on and can understand him and his condition," unquoted, coming from LP's mother. So here's the school records and evaluation report from L's developmental pediatrician, an example of individualized educational program from his previous school, and progress report from his ABA therapy. Here's the school report cards and some of his achievements. All information gathered were from L's school records, works, interview with his parents, teachers, reports from his developmental pediatrician, ABA program manager, and therapies. Here's an example of the questionnaire given to his parents. And here's the summary of assessment results. So as you can see, among the 4 domains, I pay attention to L's adaptive social skills, which is the need assistance when brushing teeth. Second is the social and emotional skill, which is the difficulty in understanding what's expected of him in a social situation. Third, I pay attention to his cognitive academic functioning, particularly difficulty with Filipino subject causing frustration, in which, according to his parents, aunt, and teachers, L shows frustrations and behavior during Filipino subject. So based on the assessment focusing on these 3 domains, here's my instructional program for L. For the first domain, adaptive and social skills, which is the self-care programs, specifically brushing of teeth, my objective is will be able to brush his teeth independently. So the teaching strategies is to task analyze using discrete trial teaching, modeling, and video modeling. So the procedure here is to model how to brush teeth using a visual schedule. First is to get the toothbrush. Next is to squeeze toothpaste on brush. To brush his teeth, the upper teeth and lower teeth, 10 counts each. Gargle and spit. Get towel and wipe mouth. Wash the toothbrush. Pack away brush and toothpaste. L will use a visual schedule here. So the materials are toothbrush, toothpaste, plastic cup, towel, and visual schedule. So for the second domain, which is the social and emotional skills, which I focus on the comprehending social situation, my objectives are L will be able to comprehend social situation when asked what will you do, what can you say to a given situation. Teaching strategies I use is modeling, the use of video modeling, social story, and discrete trial teaching, face by face. So you will read a social story, or you're going to show a video about the concept before you ask a social situation. So, for example, changes are okay. So you can show him a video about changes or a social story about changes. Materials, video, pictures, and social story. For domain number 3, cognitive academic functioning, I pay attention to his Filipino subject. My objectives will be able to comprehend and understand Filipino directions in worksheets and to work independently. So the teaching strategies used is the task analyze, discrete trial teaching. So the procedure here is to make an activity that will require him to follow Tagalog directions. In phases, A, bilugan, B, kulayan, C, salangguhitan, D, lagyan ng X, I, kahunan. Then, the materials used here are worksheets. To make it more engaging, I use pictures that is familiar to L so that he will not be bored when he's doing his, when he's answering his worksheet. So, the observation of L's performance at the end of the program for domain 1, brushing of teeth, during the self-help program, he was initially prompted, yet later on he tried to do the task on his own with minimal assistance. He followed the visual schedule provided. For domain 2, which is comprehending social situation, it was observed that he was attentive when social story was presented to him. Yet he became anxious when social situation was read to him and asked what he can say about it. He fidgets with his hands. For domain 3, which is Filipino following directions, impulsivity was noted. He doesn't read the instructions. What he did is he answered the worksheets immediately. He seems uninterested with the worksheet, so I use his favorite characters, as I mentioned, as pictures. Then he got excited and became attentive. In general, what I observed with L's performance at the end of the program, he shows good compliance during his work time. He was able to follow visual schedule that assists him with transition and let him anticipate his next activities throughout the session. He was also given a break time. Off-tasking was noted when he finds the work difficult. He was redirected by starting the trials with his mastered skills to give him a chance to get a positive response. Trials was lessened to prevent further frustration. So, further reflection for question number 1, what realizations did you have after teaching and working with the child? I realized that every child has its own unique way of learning at a different pace. Teaching strategies may vary according to the needs of the child in a structured environment that supports and enhances their learning potential. I also realized how important to know your strengths, the student's strengths, especially their interests, because sometimes new strengths can be discovered as we help the child explore his interests. For question number 2, how will you use this realization? Instead of focusing the weakness of my student, I will try to follow his interests and use it to teach him new skills. For example, I can use his interest in music to teach him days of the week. I can also use his favorite cartoon characters to learn effectively through pictorial or cartoon-based imagery with simple sentences. Presenting information through images, video clips, and animated drawing will be more appealing, engaging, and easier to absorb. For question number 3, what changed in you after this teaching experience? Teaching children with developmental disability has taught me a lot about myself, both as a teacher and as a parent. It presents unique challenges, and sometimes it demands more of your time and patience. The lessons I learned have served and will continue to help me in my chosen career and beyond, which is to appreciate and celebrate small progress. So, that brings me to the end of my presentation. I thank God for teachers like us. Thank you.